So Errol Spence finally makes his first public appearance since that horror crash in his Ferrari. When was it now? A couple months ago? Yeah, he appeared in an interview with Brian Kenny on the Charlo Harrison show. And I was obviously looking for his hand. I wanted to see if he had a screw-on hand or a real hand. And as far as I could tell, his hands look okay. I only saw one of the hands again, same as in the photo. But it seems as though that photo, which the Boxing Voice had in one of their videos, and they zoomed in to Errol Spence's hand and they were like, what the hell's up with his hand? Is that a trick of the light? It appears as though it was a trick of the light. You know, again, unless prosthetics are incredible these days, it looks as though both his hands are intact, because the hand which looked dodgy in that photo, I think was his right hand. And there's a picture of him at this show holding a fist up, and it's his right fist. So it appears as though his hand is okay. That doesn't mean that he's going to be 100% necessarily. I mean, Errol Spence says that he's going to come back in spring or summer and that he wants to go straight into a big fight. You know, he doesn't want to have any tune-ups or anything like that. Is he serious about that, or is that just bravado, you know, to keep people thinking that he's 100%? You know, are they just trying to put a brave face on it, or is he really that confident that he's going to be as good as ever once he steps back into the ring? It really is miraculous that Errol Spence survived so relatively unscathed after such a horrendous crash. And he really should be thanking whoever it needs to thank, the creator, God, his lucky stars, that he lived and is still able to walk and have all his faculties about him. But there are, you know, when it comes to being involved in that kind of crash, you can suffer muscle damage, nerve damage, psychological damage can occur from situations like that. Now, obviously, when it comes to psychological damage, different people deal with it in different ways, and some deal with it better than others. Errol Spence has always been a very calm, very assured character. So I'm going to say that he's probably the kind of person that would be able to get over psychological damage better than most, just because of the kind of character he is. He's always been a very, very calm, very confident character. Emotional characters might struggle with it more. Errol Spence is not an emotional guy. Very, very, you know, level-headed, kind of speaks in a monotone all the time. Never gets very high, never gets very low. Always just an even keel with Errol Spence. That's one of the things that's made him such a good fighter over the years, is because he's so even emotionally, you know. It's hard to get any kind of reaction out of Errol Spence, either you know, anger, happiness, anything out of him. He's such a monotone individual, but I like that about him. You know, it's kind of a bit of the Marvin Haglers to it. So, yeah, looks good at the moment. We'll see what happens over the coming months if he does actually get back in the ring as soon as he's suggesting. The next step from here, anybody who has been following Errol Spence, we want to see him in training again. See how he looks when he's hitting the pads, hitting the bag, and then maybe we can start believing that he still is the truth. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. Good to see Errol Spence up and about walking on camera again. And I was getting a little concerned when he was hiding away, but he's back on camera. And yeah, let's see where his career goes from here. If he does come back and appears to be as good as new, we want that Terence Crawford fight. As Terence Crawford has been saying recently, when it comes to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, you don't hear about any across the street talk. But with the welterweights, it's always, oh, you got to come across the street if you want to fight. There is no street. Just like Terence Crawford's been saying, just like Andre Ward been saying, same as Tim Bradley, there is no street. Cut that street rubbish out of the equation. I don't want to hear no nonsense like that from Errol Spence. I was so disappointed in him when he started coming out with rubbish like that. I had hoped he was better than that. You know? Forget about the street, across the street nonsense. Give us the fight we want to see, which is Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Bob Arum, we know he wants to make that fight because he ain't making no money, real money out of Terence over there on ESPN. They're struggling to get him opponents. What's he going to do with Terence Crawford right now? He has to strike right now. Crawford is getting older. How old's Terence Crawford now? Like 33, 34? He looked a touch vulnerable in his recent fight. So how long is Terence Crawford a viable, pound for pound star? Probably not too much longer. So right now is when Bob Arum wants to make that big fight with Terence Crawford. He's been wanting to make the fight, and he definitely wants to make it now. I mean, particularly since Errol Spence has been injured. Bob Arum wanted it before the car crash. He'll want it 10 times more after the car crash. He'll be on the phone immediately trying to sort the fight out. It's just whether Al Heyman wants to risk Errol Spence against Crawford. And it's not to say that Al Heyman thinks that Spence is definitely going to lose against Crawford. No, but he understands it's a dangerous fight. He understands how skilled Terence Crawford is, how much ability he has. And so he's not going to have as much confidence as Errol Spence is going to have because Al Heyman's not a fighter. He's a businessman. The businessman always has to think about what happens if things go wrong whenever he's making his decisions. Fighters don't think like that so much. Fighters are so confident. We're talking about the elite level fighters. They're so confident in their own ability. They believe they can beat anybody. Certainly someone like Errol Spence does. But the money men, they don't think like fighters. They're thinking in terms of contingency. They're thinking in terms of, okay, well, that's risky over there, and I think my guy can beat him, but it's a real tough fight. Let me take him a different route. Let me keep it in-house for a while longer. Let me wait until Terence Crawford looks a little more vulnerable. Then we'll take it when the time's right. I mean, when you see the way that PBC fighters are moved and managed, you can see exactly why Floyd Mayweather was moved and managed like that. It wasn't Floyd, it was Al Heyman. That's why Floyd made Al Heyman famous by, thanking him so many times after his fights. Because Heyman was always the brains behind Mayweather's operation. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people are trying to give Floyd the credit. And look, I'm sure Floyd learned a lot off Al Heyman. But understand that he was the student and Heyman was the master. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this interview with Errol Spence saying that he don't want no comeback fights. He's going to jump straight back into a big fight. Is it bravado? Is it for real? Is it PBC propaganda? Are you like me, somebody who has been an admirer of Errol Spence's ability for a very long time, and therefore you're eager to see him back in the ring? I'm not going to lie, Errol Spence has been one of my favorite fighters for years. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's like when he comes back. Let me know what you guys think. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.